I just love that's what we're going for. That we're just going for like vomit pancake vampires. And you just like, if you said that to anyone, they'd be like, what? And be like, oh no, it's Star Trek. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Anyway.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the USS Adequate. Our ongoing mission until we are cancelled and replaced by something far superior. To review every Star Trek episode and movie in existence. To seek out new guests and make them very uncomfortable. To boldly go where very many other Star Trek related YouTube shows have gone before. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Trekking Up North. I am your host as ever, Captain Goodwill, and joining me is the delectable Geesian from the planet Honk, Science Officer Synoiz. Synoiz, can you hear me over my new swanky expensive microphone? So that just anus. No.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. At least it's something I can relate to. It's also full of piss.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello. I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, it sounds good. You were really paranoid that you were like, oh, but what if it's hissing and stuff? And I'm like, I can't hear it, but I am very old.
I have tuned and tuned. Yes, because I literally spent a very long time, all of 20 minutes ago, setting all this up. So, yes. If I'm coming through loud and clear, or if there is any issues, guys, please let us know in the chat. Hello to everyone in the chat. Hello to Beth, Christopher, Sarah. We've got Damon, the background actor, who we're going to have on soon. Because as soon as...
Why can we have him on soon?
Because as soon as the SAG-AFTRA strike ended, he messaged me and he was like, this is what I was in. And I'm like... Oh, damn. We are not only having you on, we're having you on the main podcast. You have, wow, you've been near Nicolas Cage.
We're having you on.
Yes. Goodwill sounds like audio caramel coming in my ears. Well.
Coming in your ears.
Once you go black, you go deaf. So,
Wait, speaking of deafness, we have blindness in this episode.
Do
now,
we?
I absolutely love this episode. Obviously, just speeding ahead a bit here, but this is like, I haven't watched that much of the original series. Like, I keep doing it in like, bits. Well, I'll watch like 5 episodes, then I'll watch the next 5 episodes, then I'll go off for like a month or 2, and then watch another 5. And so what I did is I watched all of the episodes around this one. I was like, oh, this is really good. And I've realized I've done that thing I do with a lot of shows, why I only work on the first couple of episodes and then go, oh, I'm not really keen, like, oh, well, it's not,
Sorry, I thought my door was knocking and I'm like, I have had no one for days. And then as soon as the show starts, someone starts, no, fuck off, whoever you are.
It's someone being like, excuse me, you will find that Thatcher did all she could for this country.
Oh, no, it's my Conservative MP. No, it's fine. I think it's next door.
But that would suggest him doing something. That would suggest him knowing where his constituents are. Constituents. But this episode has everything. It is amazing. This is literally a fever dream of an episode, and that's why I was kind of pushing online for people to watch it, because I was like, please watch this and just make sure that me and Goodwill aren't just going mad when, like, so that you can sympathize when we're like, this happens and then this happens and then it's vampires and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Trekkies will know with the original series there was 79 episodes and 30 good ones. That's forever been the mantra when it comes to the original series. This is one of the 30. It does have everything. It is absolutely off the chain. But before we do go any further, I do have a shout out to where do I start with this? It's been a difficult week. For me, as many of you do know. I used to take care of my grandmother, who was terminally ill with cancer. Fuck cancer, very much like the Tories. She took a turn for the worst. We had a Marie Curie nurse come in to help us out through the night, because I was things were getting worse and I was not coping very well. And this lovely nurse, Donna from Marie Curie, came in throughout the night and was an absolute trooper and took care of not only my grandmother but myself. I had been up for 52 hours straight from Monday first thing Monday morning all the way into Wednesday morning. And I was broken, very much broken. But she took care of my grandmother and she took care of me. And I just want to give a huge... I mean, she'll probably never hear this or see this, but I just want to say thank you to Donna. Not the Donna, but another Donna. For being there, for helping and ensuring that we could move on to the next stage of taking care of my grandmother. So it's been a very hard week. That's why I've been rather quiet on socials and in real life. But hey, the show must go on. She's being cared for in a better place. And so thank you so much, Donna, for helping me, because I would have probably just walked into the sea by the end of 52 hours up straight.
I mean, I'm doubting your ability to walk into the sea after 52 hours. You're going to get stuck somewhere. You're going to be like, they'll find you just constantly in a walk cycle against a wall or something.
Yeah, it's been a very difficult week, and we thought she wouldn't make it, but she's been taken care of by specialists in a hospice just down the road from where I live, which is what's needed. But it's all the more reason for anyone to donate to our Just Giving page for Cancer Research UK. It's just that no other person and no family will ever go through what we are currently going through. It is hard to see someone you have known your entire life be so strong and then suddenly get so weak that they are unable to take care of themselves. So yes, thank you so much, Donna. You were amazing. However,
I will say though, like, you put so much pressure on yourself, and it's the fact of you need to, because all your attitude is that, like, you feel like you failed her and that you weren't able to be there, but then all the work you have put in, you have been absolutely fantastic. You have been the perfect grandchild to her for months now. Like, the fact of, like, that dedication and that sort of level of empathy for another person, being, doing your full-time job, doing all of your external things like this bullshit, and also caring for someone, that is, it's the fact of, you deserve, like, so much praise for managing that when other people would have just gone, oh, we'll just get someone else to do it because I don't want to think about it. The fact that you were there for your grandmother is amazing.
it's
And
the hardest
the
thing
fact
to
that she's
admit
got
defeat.
hospice care now, but
Yeah.
admit defeat, but it's the fact of, it's that whole thing of, like, not having being able to be like, hey, what is the best in this situation? Like, it's like walking away from a relationship. You kind of go, oh, but I don't want things to change. And you go, well, actually, what would be best, kind of thing.
Yes.
And the fact of that she's being looked after now, that you can visit her when you want, and that you can catch up on sleep, man, because I don't think that she'd want you to be this run down and this exhausted all the time,
Yeah, I have. It was the first time last night I have slept for 10 concurrent hours.
Bloody hell. What does that feel like?
Yeah, my watch
Asking
was
for a friend.
my smartwatch was like, "Are you alive? What, why
They thought you just slipped it on a dog or something.
you are not awake after 4 hours? What is wrong?" Yeah, so I've been. Yeah, so I've got a weekend off to tidy up the bomb site that is my home. But it was a difficult decision, but it had to be made because no one, you could try your absolute level best to juggle all these things, and you just get to the point where you cannot do it, and for your own sanity and at the end of the day, ultimately for their benefit, you need to say, I can't do this on my own. She needs professional round-the-clock care.
Yeah.
Because for all I have praised Marie Curie, there were elements of our health service where when I reached out for emergency help, I was told, do it yourself, we don't do that, when they absolutely do. And
If,
yeah, it's
if only
struggle.
the Tories weren't strangling the fucking NHS, where they're just like,
Yes.
oh, well, we can't give out any drugs because we don't have any drugs because we have
Yeah.
no money because, because we're spending fucking 200 billion quid on some bullshit,
Yeah. It's a
HS2, yay.
the what's the mantra for this week from the Tories? It's a lifestyle choice. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but on a
Well,
happier.
what were we saying? Suella Braverman being like, sort of like, oh yeah, being homeless is a lifestyle choice. He's just like, well, and the other options are, it's like, have you tried death?
Yeah.
Just, they're
She
going to put that on pamphlets. They're going to spend £5 billion printing pamphlets out to send to the poorest houses, rather than say giving that money to actual charities
maybe they
or
can knit
actual
it
people
into a
that can help.
blanket.
But the craziest thing, this is a bit of a self promotion, but we just released a new episode of the Girl podcast yesterday, which is speaking to the winners of the Mr. Gay UK, Great Britain and Europe, and MX Drag UK, and basically, and then it was really weird because in the Europe competition, they were all talking about their own countries and what sort of the state of gay rights and stuff is there. And one of them in the Netherlands was basically just going, oh, well, I think it was Netherlands, where basically they were just going, oh, well, we don't have charities here. And it was like, well, why? Because it was like, why don't you raise money for charity as part of the competition in your country? And they're like, well, we don't have charities because we don't need charities because the government funds everything. Like the government just goes like, oh, cool. We need homeless people to have like shelter and stuff. Okay, cool. We'll do that. Oh, we'll get people into houses. Oh, we need healthcare. Oh, we'll do that. And you're just going, what a crazy world this is, where you're just like, why the fuck do we have it? Where we're just going, hey, we pay taxes, but also let's just have all these charities that don't get paid by the taxes. And then what's the taxpayer money being spent on? HS fucking 2, but only to Birmingham, right? And Manchester.
Connecting the North.
Connecting the north to
the Midlands,
the Midlands, ish. Sorry. Anyway, that was my
anything north of Stratford is considered the North when it comes to the Conservative government. But anyway,
I love it when it's like literally it goes London, the South, and then everything else is the North. And I'm like, just because everyone wants to get away from them doesn't mean it's actually. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. But I'm very glad that the SAG-AFTRA strikes are resolved now. That is an absolutely amazing deal, because the stuff we've been reviewing, the Lower Decks, the Strange New World, this has been chef's kiss Star Trek. And we need all the best writers working on that to do more of it, because I'm in love with it all.
And also shout out to Michelle Hurd and Jerry Ryan, who have been absolute fucking troopers on the front line of the strikes. Yeah. Really just hammering it home why they are striking, what they want, and protecting actors' rights, because no one wants to go to a job and say, oh, well, you can get paid for this one job and then we'll take a scan of you and use you as AI for the rest of your life until you are dead and beyond. And you're like, no, it's just unsettling.
And this is the thing, and it's the idea of having those voices, like saying it how it is, because this is the problem we have. This is like why with the rail strikes and stuff, it was great that we got like cool union leaders who literally just went on television and went, no, here are the facts. And then all the newspapers are like, oh, well, we kind of forgot to mention those bits, but they're boring. Like the idea of like going, hey, okay, cool, everyone should go back to work at the rail stations, but we're going to fire you in a couple of months and we're going to make you sign a contract that means you're working for less money and you have less hours, and also we're going to get rid of all the staff on trains. And you're like going, I wonder, that kind of justifies the strikes a little bit, but no one's really talking about it. But luckily we've had a turnaround there as well, haven't we, where the trains have announced that they are actually going to keep ticket offices open and they're going to be manned and stuff. So yes, striking works.
Unions.
That's what we need. Unions.
See,
fight the power.
Everyone needs a Miles O'Brien, because a Miles O'Brien is a union man.
Exactly.
Not the fact
and the greatest Starfleet officer in history.
Not the fact that his great grandfather had 13 bullet holes in his back during a miners' strike. But anyway, yes, we are here to review. Wow, this is the first original series episode we have reviewed on Trekkin Up North, and I'm quite excited for it. We are here to review Season 1, Episode 29, not 30, as of what Netflix says. Episode 29, Operation Annihilate!
which is I think I put in my notes that is literally what my Trek themed metal band is going to be.
Thank God you said metal band and
We
not a
are
euphemism.
we are Operation Annihilate.
Yes, first aired the 13th of April 1967, and the remastered version was first aired on the 23rd of February 2008, and the remastered version is what everyone has seen because bless little Synoiz, he's been encouraging all of our lovely fans to get onto Netflix, Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, and watch Operation Annihilate, so you guys can all join in on the discussion in our lovely little live chat here on YouTube and our little live. Fun. I think it is fun, and our live comments below. If you want to put some comments below on what you thought about this episode, for me, coming off Strange New Worlds, it's like let's go revisit the one with Sam Kirk and the glorious moustache.
Is this the only episode that Sam Kirk is in?
Yes.
Is he even mentioned before, or are they pulling like a Spock's family reveal?
This is the first time he's mentioned in the
probably the last.
Well, yes, because spoilers. It is literally just Shatner in a moustache.
No, he looks way better than Shatner.
It's Shatner
whoever
in a
this
moustache.
actor is.
It's Shatner in a moustache.
Is it actually Shatner?
It is Shatner in a moustache. This is 1960s TV.
They literally make him look so much better with the slicked back hair.
Yeah, it's Shatner in a moustache. Yes.
Wow, okay.
The premise is that the Enterprise is trying to contact the Denver colony after they have not had any transmissions for over a year. There has been a pattern of mass insanity destroying civilizations across a certain section of the galaxy. And this pattern
I love that they... Yeah, it's a line, and I love that they've got the whole sort of John Carpenter's The Thing kind of thing, where they're just going, oh, there were some archaeologists on this planet that recorded saying something, and then that's all we know. And you're just going, hang on, so archaeologists dig something up, and then there's this weird pattern of madness spreading out in a line across the galaxy, and you're like going... I wonder if those do that. And Spock just says it in like passing, and you're just going, I think that's a plot point.
And that's when Kurt Russell turns up with a flamethrower. So
imagine if that's how it ended. Okay. So quite the ending we expected, but a ginger kid got burned, so
just
fine.
Sam Kirk's moustache just sprouting legs and crawling along the floor. Yeah, so they are trying, they are heading best speed to the Denver colony, and they pick up a ship that is flying into the Denovan sun, and they are running after it because they want to know what's going on, why they're flying into the sun. They try and hail them, and they get nothing and nothing and nothing and nothing. As they are chasing them, they finally get a communication, and a person goes, I did it, it's finally gone, I am free. And then explode.
Yeah, and then it dies in the sun, and you're just going like, okay, that's cryptic, but...
Very cryptic, and considering that Kirk's got a personal communication channel to the colony as well, where he's trying to reach them.
Because I remember this, because like all the episodes I watched around this, Kirk is a little bit like sort of micromanaging, where he's very much always telling people how to do their jobs better. And, you know, like in the previous episode, what was it called? The City on the Edge of Time, I think, Forever. He's going like, McCoy is doing something, and Kirk's like, oh, have you tried this? And he's like, you what? You know,
yeah.
Bones is just like going, you trying to tell me I do my own job?
It's kind of a plot twist though, because the age-old argument of Kirk over Picard, where they go, oh well, Picard is more intelligent and Picard is smart and he's very, you know, he pronounces himself a little bit better and he's more superior.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, the people who know Star Trek go, well, actually, Kirk is the really smart one. He's incredibly intelligent, whereas Picard is the Boy Scout. He is the gung-ho, let's replace my heart with a pacemaker because I picked a fight with a Nausicaan type of captain.
Well, I don't know, though, because it's like, I'd probably say the opposite. I'd say sort of Picard, yeah, Kirk is probably more, like, experienced, like, well, more sort of intelligent than Picard, but Kirk is also recklessly emotional. Like, he's always led by his feelings at all times, and he's like, let's just do this thing, this reckless, crazy thing. And that's obviously why I'm opposed to him. But it's the fact that Picard is very much kind of like, let's ask everyone for their opinions. Whereas it's fairly rare that Kirk seems to ask people's opinions. Like, you know, in this episode, he like asks people's opinions and they tell him and he's like, no, let's get a better answer. And you're like going, oh, okay, fuck them then.
We should say, guys, that obviously we know that this is a product of 1960s television. We know that some themes might not be agreeable to today's standards, but it is a product of its time. And we will raise certain things also, that do happen in this episode, and we will highlight them. But I like the fact that he's getting Uhura to use a personal comms channel because it's revealed that Sam Kirk and his family are on the Denver colony. I love, though, that he snaps at Uhura because we hear Orlean's.
Well, the
Sam
problem
Kirk's
is,
wife.
okay, like, hold on, I'll just stop you for a moment because obviously the biggest problem, this is the biggest elephant in the room with this episode, is that this episode seems to try and suggest, okay, in canon, and this is after I've seen Strange New Worlds and things on the internet, that Sam Kirk is actually heterosexual, and I won't accept this. So, in all of my notes, I've just written Sam Kirk's beard. So I didn't actually learn her name. It's just literally because I don't know what kind of tax evasion kind of deal they've got set up or whatever on Denver, but
Anyway,
so Sam Kirk's beard. We get a transmission from her.
Yeah, they make a brief contact with Sam's wife. They then lose the transmission, but I love that Uhura loses the transmission. Kirk snaps at her to get it back, but Uhura, being the absolute girl boss that she is, stands her fucking ground, but does it in the most calm and professional way possible, where she goes, I am telling you, it is not possible because they terminated the communication on their end. She didn't snap. She saw that Kirk was agitated, but she was calm, she was cool, and she was collective. And this is why Nichelle Nichols was a boss all the way through the original series and the movies.
It is the full-on, like the complaints helpline of, okay, sir, if you'd like to lower your voice, yes, we will help with you. It is very, like, there's, when I used to work in the office with my job, it was the fact of, there is the nicest, sweetest, most personable person in the entire company works the complaints line. And then you literally just overhear them on a conversation, and you just know that they're getting screamed at by some absolute wanker who's blaming them for something that they can never possibly be involved with. And they are literally all sunshine and rainbows talking to them, saying, okay, sir, well, what we'll do, if you'll just hold on a moment, I'm going to have to terminate the call if you continue like that. And it's kind of wonderful seeing a horror because it gives them the power. It's like, hey, I'm not the unreasonable one here. Please lower your voice, Kirk, you twat. But, no, it's not. I actually really like Kirk in these episodes, but I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he does. Mm-hmm. But I think that's what makes him a very unique captain,
I mean, he's a young captain.
He's right a lot of the time, but it's the whole thing of please show you're working. Like,
he's a young, I would very much captain.
Not jump off that cliff after his attempts at convincing me, even if it's the right thing to do. I'm like, you are not very good at convincing me about, like...
He's a 33-year-old captain. He's quite young, in charge of, one of the most advanced ships in the fleet, and he is very gung-ho. And later Star Trek series sort of play on, it was a different era. It was the 23rd century. It was shoot first, ask questions later. Oh, to be that thing. They do it in, they mention it in when we reviewed the Voyager episode with the Excelsior. Where
that was really weird because I was like, I'm pretty sure we've done an original episode of Trek on Trekking Up North. And I was like, no, that was the weird Back in Time Voyager one.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, well, it was a different time and it was shoot. And it's like, yes, because they have to sort of identify that this was a 60s space western and that the ideals and the morals and everything was different and that it was shoot first, ask questions later for a lot of it. Whereas Next Generation onwards, it was like, like you said, Picard would ask everyone else's opinions. They would have a conference. They would have a meeting. They would devise a plan together. Whereas this is like Kirk's going, let's do this, let's do that. And they portray him as this brilliant tactician, like in Balance of Terror, that he is a brilliant tactician. He is a Napoleon-esque commander that knows what he is doing, and no one should really question his authority because he is James T. Kirk.
Yeah.
So that's how they sort of portray that.
Well, I think it's good because obviously compared to Picard, where Picard, like, obviously that episode he has with Crusher, where she can read his mind, and she's like, "You're not confident at all, but you're just sounding like it to convince people." And it's like, yeah, that's Picard's whole strategy. Whereas Kirk is very much kind of, no, I'm totally in charge and I know what I'm doing. Whereas Picard is like, I'm 50% sure, but let's go anyway. You know?
But this is the thing, like, fake it till you make it is what a lot of people do. It's what I do. You know, I fake that confidence until I am able to do it in work, and I think a lot of people do that. They get back to the show.
Oh, hold on. I just want to mention, I put a note here that made me giggle because one of my favorite things about the original bridge is, you know, Spock's little looky box thing.
Yeah.
Where there's this little sort of, everyone in the chat, do you see Spock's little looky thing where he's got this little periscope?
It's got a periscope, and it's
what
also
is in
got
there?
It's also
How
got a
does
view
he like
that looks like that as well.
Yeah, but it's like the little periscope thing. It's like it seems to do just random shit all the time, and I'm like, what kind of monitor is it showing in there? Like, and I just love the idea that it's actually just what the butler saw. So it's literally just pornography. It's like, but really vintage pornography. And he's like, illogical. You know,
it's one of those nickel machines.
Yeah, literally. He's just winding it up at the side. And Kirk's just like, oh, what can you say? Oh, some shit's happening on deck 8. Take him off.
Some ankles.
Take me.
They actually had that in Star Trek Enterprise though as well, but they actually tried to explain it that it's like it's a long range sensor and it shows information. Within
like a monitor,
a monitor, yeah. But it's one of those that, you know, I can't explain it. It was essentially a 23rd.
It's a cool thing they put on the set, and they were like, use this.
It's a 23rd century periscope. That's what it is.
I'm just like, why is it covered off? Like, what is so special about it?
It's a 23rd century periscope. That's all it is. When they get to Denver, though, they beam down to the surface. Humans are present. And it is extremely quiet. I noted that the exterior locations, because Star Trek very rarely shot on location, other than Vasquez Rocks and certain other places, but this was actually shot at UCLA for the labs.
Really?
This was 1960s UCLA. That's why it's very Art Deco, very artsy, very liberal.
I put notes down of how good it is. Like this, the whole location is just like, this is the 60s. Like, this literally looks like some kind of modern thing. Like, it feels, obviously when they're in the buildings it doesn't feel as much, but on the outside I was like, I really like this. This looks like something we'd get now, you know.
It was two locations. So the establishment one where they beamed down, that's UCLA, and the second one with the high rise white building, that is the TRW Space and Defense Park in Redondo Beach, California.
Redondo
Beach, California. It is a real place, guys. So yeah,
I've been to. I also love that when they're transporting down to the planet, I made a note that it's like the poor actor's hands operating the transporter, where it's literally just pulling the little levers down,
trembling,
and that's their whole job for the episode.
Yeah,
their whole job for the episode is just going, and they're like, oh, don't make me fuck this up.
So, as they are walking around the Denver colony, they find citizens running at them, telling them to go back, and they have got the plastic acrylic batons.
I put this, where's my notes? Angry mob with perspex dildos, which is basically what I wrote for this, because they're just like acrylic tubes, and they're just like, are they meant to be threatening, or is it some kind of weird art project? But but yeah, one thing I will say, and this is a very weird gaming reference, is that I want to reference the video game System Shock 2 here, because this is incredible, because basically this mob of angry guys is running towards them, but yelling at them, go, stay away, like run, get out of here. And you're just like, what the fuck? They're chasing them, trying to hurt them, but they're also trying to help them. And that's something you get in System Shock, where it's kind of freaky, obviously, it's a horror game, but the mutants in it are people who've been mutated, but they're they're being controlled by a parasite that basically controls their movements but not their minds. So basically they're able to sort of warn, and so the monsters are basically going, please kill me, and like run away and stuff as you're fighting them. And it's just like really freaky. And I didn't realize until watching this episode that is probably taken directly from this episode of Star Trek. Like it's this idea of that, once again, how Star Trek influences popular culture is fantastic.
This series, the original series, influenced so much in culture, science, technology. It is insane when you think about it and you go, oh yeah, that little pokey show in the 60s. Well, you see this device here. Well, that is why you've got a mobile phone.
Yeah.
This invented the flip phone because the person who invented the mobile phones was a fan of Star Trek and thought, I want to answer a call by going, hello. And then as a great like meta thing, they then developed this actual communicator as a Bluetooth device to answer your telephone calls.
Really?
So there is for sale right now, and if anyone wants to buy me it, you can. There is a legitimate original series communicator that links to your mobile phone that is programmable. All these are programmable. When you receive a phone call, you pick this up, you flip it like that, and you can talk to a person on a call through a communicator. And what's better is, and this is how scary technology has progressed, you are now able to have that technology in a next generation communicator. So you could have an actual magnetic badge on your chest. So when your phone rings, you tap it and you can answer a phone call from your comm badge, like in Star Trek.
I genuinely love that. Like, that's one of my favorite things about Next Generation. The fact that, like, the badge is the communicator.
Yeah.
Like, the badge, because the badge has the speaker in, apparently, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
Yeah, because it doesn't in Discovery, does it? It doesn't in Enterprise or Discovery. It's that it's the sound goes into the room from speakers, but they know what speaker to use because of your badge.
Yeah,
I think that's how it works in Discovery.
And they're also
like,
universal
that's translators. Be weird for private conversations.
They are also universal translators in the badge. So as someone is talking, the badge is actually telling you what they are saying. But it's one of those things where Star Trek influence. So I mean, obviously there was advances in certain fields of physics and about warp drive and how they do this. Because Star Trek always, even as early as the original series, Star Trek listened to the scientists at Caltech, to UCLA, about how can we propel this ship, and they said, well, if you do this and do this, and it's like they listened to people and actually implemented real science. That reminded me, I haven't turned on my Enterprise.
Oh, he hasn't turned on his Enterprise.
There we go. Lovely.
Get him.
So, like the cultural impact that Star Trek had, even to this day, is like, I think it beats Star Wars to a certain extent.
Probably. Well, when we think about it, the reason why I have a tablet that I can sort of monitor stuff and like carry around with me is because of Trek, because we had pads and stuff in, original series in TNG. It's crazy, just kind of all the stuff where you're like, this is why we have this everyday thing, is purely because some mad science fiction nerd went, oh yeah, they've got things and it's a computer, but you can have it in your hand and walk around, but it's got a big screen so you can see more information at once and stuff. And you're just like going, foreshadowing.
It's crazy because like even tricorders, I mean, they are developing medical tricorders where they will be able to diagnose or check things via an actual tricorder. And then in Star Trek Picard in season 2, the tricorder was a modified Samsung Galaxy flip phone. And again, it's like that meta.
The sponsors in there.
It's like that circle of like, this was influenced by Star Trek and now Star Trek is influenced it. And it's just like, it's so meta and it's so awesome. But then you're just like, I want LCARs for my phone always.
But I do. But basically, what happens is the angry mob charge at them, and they literally just immediately face them. They literally just immediately stun all of them, and they all dramatically, almost too dramatically, one might say, like almost as if that was their only part of the whole episode, and they were trying to milk it for all it's worth, dramatically fall to the ground.
But this is where the next part though is where this episode starts to fall short, because we hear the screams. They find Kirk's sister-in-law.
Hold on. Before we get to that, we has one of my favorite lines in the whole thing, which basically where Bones is checking the people after they've knocked them out and says the line, even in their unconscious state, they're being violently stimulated. And I thought, I'd suddenly started watching a documentary about Epstein Island, but actually not.
I thought they were just Middlesbrough fans.
I absolutely love that. But yes, but the beard is screaming, and they go and see her, and she's trying to keep something out. She's basically trying to cover up a ventilation shaft into the room.
She's absolutely hysterical. They find her, and this is the 60s. Oh, hi, Charles Royal. Thank you for
how you doing,
a phone is a tricorder. Yes, and it is. A phone is literally a tricorder, but I was referring to an actual medical technology where they can sense ailments and body temperature and stuff like that. It's insane. But yes, this is the shortfall where it's like it's the 1960s. A woman is hysterical. Sedate her.
It's just like, oh well, just sedate her. They genuinely do as well. Like, let's not try and get any information from her or anything. Let's just sedate her and then just look around her house. Like that'll be more useful than actually talking to the woman. But
it's very questionable. However, they do.
I have to say though, the actress is weird because you get this in horror, okay, where you get actresses and actors who are amazing at horrific screaming, but they're not very good at actual dialogue. And that's kind of how I feel about her, because I was like, top-notch screaming, love. That was really good. That was really dramatic. But the whole putting the lines across was a bit cringe, Imagine being an actor in the room, like later on when she's in a sick bed, and just imagine being sort of like, William Shatner just being like, this is the fourth take. My eardrums, they can't take it.
However, we do get to experience and see for the first time George Samuel Kirk. When we turn the body over, it is I can't think straight. It is George Samuel Kirk, but it's just Shatner in a moustache. This is why Sam Kirk in Strange New Worlds has a moustache, because of this 10-second cameo on the original series.
I thought it was to make him less hot. I thought it was to, give Anson Mount a chance.
It's delicious 60s budgetary where it's like, shall we hire another actor? No, put Bill in a moustache and get him on the floor. That's what they did. And now I have a bone to pick with you because you referenced the other day the ginger kid. Now, I'm going to pull you up here.
I'm very confused by this.
I'm going to pull you up here.
Okay, before you get this, okay, I'm just saying, Sam Kirk, my future husband from Strange New Worlds, maybe not William Shatner.
Oh, well, don't compare Sam Kirk with Strange New Worlds to Sam Kirk in the original series, though. Come on.
No, that's it. I mean, I like Sam Kirk in Strange New Worlds. And they're alive. That's a bit of oddly, a turn-on for me. If it wasn't, that's a concern.
Necrophilia up north.
Oh, but yeah, it's just like,
at least it's stiff.
But yeah, but it's the idea of obviously you're just like going, okay, so she's like obviously brunette, he's Shatner and brunette, and then they just have this ginger kid. And I'm like, I know it can work like that progressively, but I like this idea that just adopted because, he's lying to himself.
Gather round, Treks and Trekkers. Because I'm about to lay some thick.
Get closer.
I'm about to lay some thick, and that's THICC knowledge on you. Ooh. The ginger gene runs deep.
Cover me with with your thick lore. It's lore bukkake.
Allow me to fire the cannon. The ginger gene runs deep within the Shatner and Kirk family because Bill Shatner's actual daughter, Elizabeth Shatner, is a full-on raw ginger girl. Because raw ginger. Because Shatner's daughters have actually appeared in Star Trek and in the movies. Elizabeth Shatner, when she was a wee little knee-eye to a grasshopper, she was in the episode where the adults all died on the planet and it was all kids. Elizabeth Shatner was in that. She is even more ginger than Kirk's nephew. So I'm just going to say there is a ginger gene within the Kirks and it is coming out in this generation. Now.
Right.
Now.
Is that why they pretty much just don't give a shit about him for the whole episode?
Yeah. Going back to Sam Kirk's wife, when they get her onto sick bay, where we literally just get about 4 sentences and she's just like, they came in a ship, dies.
It's literally, what is it? Where's my actual notes here is Beard trying to keep something out, Sam is dead, son is ginger.
Yeah.
That's my notes for that whole thing.
Sam is dead, son is ginger. I'm pretty sure though, and again, this goes back to the 60s budgetary, this kid was in another Star Trek episode as something else.
Okay, that's good, at least, because this poor child actor, it's like, hey, we've got a role for you. It's not too involved. It's like, oh my god, am I operating the transporter buttons? Not that in depth, actually. It's less movement than that.
The chat is liking raw ginger. Yes, raw ginger is a thing. I was raw ginger.
That is an edgy Gothwill t-shirt.
There is a photo of
raw
me.
Ginger girl.
There is a photo of me as a 5-year-old, and I am a raw ginger. Like, they needed sunglasses to take a photo of my hair. Gingers are hot, says Charles Royal. Hi.
It's true.
Don't let the frosted tips fool you.
Obviously as a kid, I was just like, oh, gingers. Oh, that's a bit strange. And then as an adult, I'm like, gingers. Yeah. It also kind of ties in with the fact that for some reason gingers seem to be really hung, but let's move on. But I just love the whole idea that she has this whole scene where she's like, things arrived. They were trying to control us, and you're just like, you use this scene, love.
Yeah.
you milk this. But it is quite great though that it's like what we're seeing here again is basically she is having to fight in order to talk because something inside her is basically going, no, don't tell them that, and giving a massive amounts of pain. So and the crazy thing is, like, what I love about this episode is the subtext. It is just throwaway lines that tell this much a more bigger story. Like, they dug something up, like at an archaeology site, and then suddenly this whole thing started. Oh, the things controlling them are trying to get them to build ships that they can move to other worlds. And you're like, this is like a whole movie, and it's just like, oh, we're just going to focus on this bit, It's great. This is proper world building.
It's great exposition. However, she does die, and Sam's son is now an orphan. So, moving, and we never discuss him again.
We just never show him again. Yeah, basically, we just go, "Oh, he's unconscious." If
Paramount is looking for something to exploit, the adventures of Sam Kirk's
ginger son.
Yeah, like James,
that's his name. It's not Sam Kirk
Jr.
Jr. It's Sam's ginger son.
Yeah. Raw ginger.
Lieutenant Junior Grade, Sam's ginger son.
Lieutenant Raw Ginger.
Ensign Raw Ginger, take us to war.
Captain Raw. Oof.
Take us in.
Oh! Just slowly, because I'm a bit, 1/3 impulse. 1/3 impulse! So...
I said, that's warp 7. No, you don't want to go warp 9 though, because you can tear the universe and just leave that how it is. But
don't go in at warp 10; you'll turn me into a salamander. So when
yes, and back to the salamanders. But yeah.
Have you seen the meme? Have you seen the meme that's going around about Lower Decks?
No,
I saw it. Phil Murphy tweeted it. Right, It's the Spider-Man meme, but it's Tom Paris, Nick Locano, and a fucking salamander all pointing to each other.
That is brilliant. I love that the Shuttle Pod show's got him on.
Oh, it was his birthday. It was his birthday.
Perfect
a couple
time
of
to
days,
get him on.
yeah.
Is
Birthday
it?
a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago.
Well, obviously
It feels like a couple of years. It was a couple
Unless
of
he
days
just
ago.
put it aging on pause. He was just like,
Yeah,
no.
it was a couple of days ago. So happy birthday, Robert Duncan McNeil. Oh God, what day is it?
The year, man, the year.
The year. So
I do love all of this though. Like that whole scene, and her screaming is amazing. But basically, she screams her life out. It's amazing, perfect sound effects, wonderful acting there, and then she dies. Like she literally, she's trying to disobey the thing inside her so much that the pain kills her.
Yeah.
In order to just help them out. If only they hadn't tranquilized her at the start, maybe. If only they'd found out more information at the beginning. But
wow. Back on Denver, Kirk beams down. He meets up with the landing party. They say there are humans, but they're all in the buildings, and there's nothing out of the ordinary except a hissing noise coming from the distance. So they go investigate the hissing noise into this quintessential 60s building with the wood paneling on the stairs, as you do.
It looks like my high school. It looks
does,
like my high
it?
school before they rebuilt it.
Yes.
And I was just doing like, it's fully Grange Hill.
This is the
building.
thing, yeah. This was my secondary school, or high school if you're American, where it was like single glazing, wood paneling on the staircase with black wrought iron, whatever they call. I shouldn't really do that on camera, but But then we get to
context.
see. But then we get to see, and we have got guys. Me and Synoiz have two different names for these. Synoiz, do you want to name yours first? I've
got so many names for them. Okay, I was saying that they were sort of pancake vampires, the creatures, but I will say that I was. My immediate thought is that they look like those Halloween wounds. You know, where you buy the sort of wounds at Halloween, where you sort of stick them on and then you expect it to somehow make them look good with no skill.
Yeah.
That's what they look like. It just looks like they just got a pack of them from Smithy's. And just went, oh, they're monsters.
So what are you going to call them? Because then I'm going to get the chat to vote which one they want us to call it.
Okay, because we've been using the word a lot now, and it arouses me, I'm going to go with raw pancake vampires.
So raw pancake vampires, I call them alien vomit pancakes. Because that's what they were. They were the plastic vomit that you used to get in the 70s and 80s. No, but it looked like it.
I don't know. You're fucking blowing my mind by saying that, this was like, University of LA and stuff.
Oh, UCLA, definitely. But I called them alien vomit pancakes.
No, Christopher's got it. Gash scab.
So these gash scabs.
The planet of the gash scabs.
Planet Crab. The
jellyfish pancakes from Becca. That's quite good.
Alien what does Becca say? Alien vomit for sure. Can we vote for both? No, we can't, Beth. We need to choose one. So here you go.
Okay, what would you scream if one was attacked? If you just had to communicate with someone that you were being attacked, what would you yell out?
Gash grab sounds like cash grab, so I like that one. A vomlet.
I'm being attacked by a gas scab.
Lee is calling them vomlets.
Vomlet? Vomlet Vamps. There we go. That's my new indie band. Synoiz and the Vomlet Vamps.
I don't have mod capabilities. I can't do a vote. I'm not on mod view at the moment. Let me have a look, see if I can do a vote. No, I can't.
Yeah, vampire pancakes, as vampires have a lot to do with gingers. There we go.
Wow, okay. I feel
them have
attacked.
souls.
Wow, okay. Okay.
I was quoting South Park, so technically I'm guiltless.
It do be like that. Raw ginger salamander, says Charles.
Raw ginger?
Bob McNeil is actually ginger, Charles. Do you not know this?
Yeah. Raw ginger salamander. I'm just... Hold on, I'm just going to update my Grindr username.
Anyway,
looking for raw ginger salamander.
Someone warp 10s into your DMs. Anyway,
we're doing worse than usual at getting through this episode.
I love the fact Jaws just said, "Oh, I was just tuning in to Trekkin Up North. Gash cabs."
Welcome to the party, Joe.
Anyway,
I just
Anyway,
love the sort of the budget was elsewhere in this episode, basically. But
it was the
no,
last
actually,
episode of season 1, so my glasses are falling off. Hang on. There we
my
go.
glasses, I can't see without them.
So anyway, they encounter. Oh no, spam purse goblin. No, Adam.
Pampers Goblin.
No. Right.
We need to put okay. We need to. Can someone make note of these? Lee, as the daddy of Discord, can you put a poll on the Discord once we're done here, so people can vote for which their favorite name is? If you can, yeah. I love it.
I need Paul because Paul's got the mod access to do the vote. Anyway, so they encounter the gash scabs, and they are clinged onto the wall, and they are making all kinds of curdling noises as they do. They scan them. They try and fire at them, and one falls off, I believe. And as they try and leave because they think it could be an ambush, one Thunderbirds like flies off and attaches.
It attaches to Spock, but the fact is they phaser these things. Like it's this foreshadowing of basically 3 of them basically put phasers on kill and basically hold it on them for like 5 seconds, and then one just falls off, and they're just like going, "It's perfectly fine. It just fell off because it's a dumbass," like, and they're like, "Oh, you can't kill these things."
Oh God, these must be from Sunderland.
But then I love the idea that Spock's just like, we should take one as a sample. That might help. And Kirk's like, no, let's not bother. Let's go back to the ship. And
Science.
Like, oh, well, a lot of the episode would have been avoided by just not doing that. But and I love it that they just literally, they're going away. Spock is last, and one of them flies onto his back and latches onto him. And then Kirk pulls it off, doesn't he?
Yeah, after it's been punctured, even though the uniform is absolutely completely intact and there's no hole whatsoever. But it does.
Not wasting a uniform on the last episode of the season.
Oh God, no. So it incapacitates Spock. Back, they take him to sick bay. We see the lovely Michelle Beret Roddenberry as Nurse Chapel, who is still deeply in love with Spock in the original series. Trying to operate on him, trying to find out what they can do. McCoy, again, this is a very thing where Chapel is the quintessential nurse. She's got a lot of feelings for Spock, and McCoy, being the 60s hard-ass doctor, he's just like, if you can't do this, get me a nurse that will. And he's just like, yep.
I honestly have to say, the more I watch, because I kind of like, I appreciate Kirk, okay? Like, he's not my favorite captain. I don't like Kirk.
Yeah.
But I can see why he's a good captain. I can see that he gets results. I can see all of this. Bones isn't very good. Like, literally, the more I see him, the more I'm a bit like, and it's this idea of and this episode is literally just an advert for medical malpractice. This is the episode that they probably show at Starfleet when they're going, like, they're, demonstrating incidents at work or something. Where it's just like, has this ever happened to you?
Are you saying that McCoy is the reason that they have a video for health and safety? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
He's just I would say
so.
He's a simple country doctor. That's all he is.
But in the previous episode on the edge of Forever, City on the Edge of Forever, he's basically sort of transported back into the past, and he's just like, look at them with their primitive technology, like scalpels and syringes and stuff. Nobody's like, all their primitive stuff. And then in this one, he's just like, let's cut their head off. Who gives a fuck? And you're just going, okay.
Yeah. So
it is a very interesting thing, but fight me on this, I think.
Well, he goes to the bridge and he shows a sample of the tentacles that are growing within Spock and Kirk's nephew. He shows them that he shows them a sample. And basically says there is nothing that we currently can do. The entire science department of the Enterprise, the medical department of the Enterprise, is absolutely stumped. We don't know what to do. We then see Spock leave sickbay, break out of his restraints.
Well, this thing basically, Spock wakes up, and then he wakes up and he tries to get Kirk. He basically tries to convince Kirk to let him to the planet. He's like, "Hey, look, I'm managing to control this pain. Okay."
No, he tries to take over the bridge first.
Yeah. Well, what is it? Yeah, he wakes up. He overpowers Chapel, and then teleports to the bridge seemingly because she immediately phones the bridge and goes, "Oh, watch out for Spock," and then he's there, and I'm like, "How fast are these turbo lifts?" But
Turbo lift.
yeah, turbo lifts. I'm just like, it is one of these things. Like, while I love Trek, the inconsistency between how you travel to different bits of the ship is very much a massive plot hole.
They have two modes. They have three modes. Sorry, they have regular,
yeah,
exposition mode,
yeah, there we go,
and plot forwarding mode. Okay.
Yeah, literally, where you're just like, oh my god, this guy's about to sort of like press the button that'll make his ship leave, and then Odo's sort of like in ops, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll get him," and I'm like, in less than a second, you're saying, "Oh,
yeah.
and you manage it? Okay, right,
yeah.
That's interesting." Anyway,
so they go back to Sick Bay,
but basically, Spock on the bridge tries to take control of the ship, and they sedate him. McCoy comes in, sedates him, and then they take him back to his bed. And then when Spock wakes up, because they're basically like McCoy laughs at it and just goes, "We can't tranquilize him. He's Vulcan. Like it won't do anything." So
the audience is led to believe though that Spock has been infected with this creature. Mm-hmm. We are led to believe that it's actually the creature who has taken over Spock, who is basically saying, "Let me go, I am fine, I am controlling it." And then we realize, because for the second time he breaks out of sickbay, this time out of the restraints of the 1960s Ford seatbelts that they've got on the Enterprise, breaks out of them, makes his way to the transporter room, where he takes down, again, red shirts. It's the 60s. If you're a red shirt, you're dead. Takes out a couple of guards. Scotty being Scotty is just like, "Hold on there, bunny lad."
Yeah, gets a phaser.
Hold on there, buddy lad. You ain't going nowhere. Calls down Kirk to the transporter room, and we think we're going to get this face-off, between this alien, and it's actually Spock, where he's like, "I have been able to suppress the pain and the essentially the creature within his body from taking over, and because I am technically immune to this, I am the best candidate possible to go down to the surface and bring back one of these creatures so we can study them and find out how we can kill them or eradicate them or neutralize them." They reluctantly agree, which I think is like, Kirk's given him the benefit of the doubt, and he's like,
everyone is against the idea because they think that Spock is being possessed, and it's this level of trust of basically just being like, is he possessed? Is he just trying to get back to the planet? But it's actually Spock in control, we find out. But I love what you said about the red coats, though, because I was so worried that there's this wonderful, beautiful red coat in this episode, and I think it actually names her, which basically puts her ahead of most of the bridge crew on Discovery.
Is beautiful as well.
Isn't she beautiful? Yes. She's called Helen.
Yeah.
She gets the name Helen, and she's great. And throughout the whole episode, I was like, "Oh no, she's gonna get killed."
Yeah, she's a yeoman, but
she gets like 3 lines in it as well. I'm just like, she gets more than the ginger kid. So
Becca's just said poor red shirt.
You have to be awake.
Becca has just said poor red shirts. Yes, indeed, poor red shirts. However, you can get a lovely black shirt,
fuck off.
which is showing the rather gorgeous Trekking Up North logo. Look at this; it's absolutely beautiful. If you don't want to be a red shirt, if you don't want to be a red shirt and you want to be a beautiful black shirt with our logo, please send me a message and we can organise one to be sent direct to your door. Our fantastic viewer Kelly recently got hers this week, and she displayed it proudly on Twitch as she was playing Five Nights at Freddy's. But if you do want a Trekking Up North t-shirt, please send us a message.
As seen on the Shuttle Pod show.
As seen on the Shuttle Pod show by the lovely Mark Cottier. Lovely, delicious little tribble from Minnesota.
Boy, I want to lick his little beard.
I want his pen. So if you...
Why has he not sort of cancelled us yet? I literally just keep posting like stupid comments on all of his Instagram stuff, and I'm just like going, nope, I will not be serious.
He's going to regret hiring me for the Shuttle Pod show.
Exactly.
But if you do want a Trekking Up North t-shirt, please send me a message or send Nerdy Up North a message and we will accommodate you. But make sure that you wear it and display it proudly on all your socials to let the people know that we are a show. Yes, segment
we
over.
exist.
Add time over. Okay.
I will
Yeah.
say, when Spock beams down to the planet, this is one of my favorite bits of the episode because it's, you know, you got this in Thunderbirds, you got in all of the 60s, 70s things. Is basically, but yeah, when we got that, where basically Spock teleports down to the planet, has a bit of a wander around, and then basically it has a guy, one of the crazies, like jumps out at him with like some weird massive metal spanner thing, and then like Spock's like cornered, and then it fades out to like commercial break where it's like dramatic cliffhanger thing, and then when it fades back in, he literally just grabs the guy and nerve pinches him, and it's like lasts a second. I was like, that was so fucking anticlimactic at all. Like it's literally, it's like Captain Scarlet ending with this massive sort of what will happen, and then it's like, oh, he just stops the train, does he? All right, okay, never mind. You know,
How will Captain Scarlet get out of it? Oh, he's indestructible. Oh, never mind.
Well, actually, to be fair, that's a really bad example because it was like, how will Captain Scarlet get it? Oh, he's just dead, is he? Right.
How
okay,
will
never
Troy
mind.
McClure deal with those eyebrows? Oh, right, he just raises them. Right, okay. So yeah,
I love that bit though.
I like the
just,
fact
it's like,
he-
and the music is so dramatic, and he's just like, nah, fuck off, mate.
yeah. But he does manage. He is able to not subdue, but take one off the wall with a lot of phaser fire. Uses the acrylic tongs.
What are we calling them?
What
the
are we
scab-
calling them, guys? Gash cabs? Is that what we're
The
going to call
gash
them?
scab. He just
The gash
takes
scabs.
one of the gash scabs.
He picks a gash scab.
And someone commented on it earlier, but he puts it into his little red lunchbox.
Yes.
You know, it's like he's got this little pail
With
I assume
acrylic
it's called?
tongs, because in the 60s, if it was futuristic, it was made out of plastic.
I genuinely love this because, like, you know, the machine I remember in school in DT class, where basically we had access to all the machines where you could like bend acrylic and shape it and cut it and stuff like that. And it was just like, oh, this is amazing. I'd make everything out of acrylic. And then in this one, they've just gone, okay, we've got a fuck ton of acrylic to use. So let's make some tongs. We'll make loads of weird dildo things that are weapons. You know, it's.
I made, right, this is how
It's
ahead
so
of the
60s.
times I was. I made a plastic, bright orange, luminescent plastic orange mobile phone holder with a magnet on it.
Wow.
Because
Take that, Data.
Because I thought at the time, and this is like 1999, and I thought, it's a magnet. I can put my mobile phone on that, and that will not fall off. I can put it on the wall, I can put it on a table, and it will not fall off. And they were like, you stupid boy, you can't use a magnet next to a mobile phone. It will scramble all the data. Flash forward to 2023 when we're just going to everything with magnets on the phones.
Well, this is the weird thing, because obviously the thing about like because we have SD cards now, they're not actually that kind of drive. It's basically the magnet only was a problem because basically you were taking because of basically how that I'm trying to dumb it down. I'm like, there is no way that I can dumb it down. But essentially, it's the idea of it won't really affect SD cards. It won't really affect, like, you know, the hard drives that we put in phones, because oddly enough, they don't move. They're not that kind of like storage device. But it is crazy though that we use magnets for everything now.
So he's got the sample.
Is Gash Scabs winning the poll, Lee?
Is gash scab
It
winning
is.
it? Okay, so Spock obtains a gash scab. Jesus Christ.
What is this episode?
Back on the Enterprise, McCoy is trying to find a way to kill it. Cannot find anything. They have tried literally everything they can think of to kill this creature, and Kirk has a moral quandary. Does he wipe out? Well, it's not a quandary, is it? Really, it's basically they need to find something to kill these creatures, or he has to wipe out an entire colony to prevent them from spreading.
Well, the hilarious thing is basically he is faced with a quandary, and his answer is no, I don't want either of those options, which is basically like swerving the quandary. I think that's the technical way of doing it.
He doesn't believe in a no-win scenario, though.
No, but isn't that part of the officer training program?
Yeah, that he cheated on. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, he's just cheated on it. Hey, my brother's got a moustache. Oh, I passed.
Yes.
And also a beard.
They basically say there is nothing that they can do. The only alternative is to wipe out this colony. Spock volunteers to beam himself and the nephew down so they can be wiped out.
We get
as
an
well.
amazing moment where Kirk minces out after doing a camp slamming of his fist. You know, where basically his entire room of people is going, yeah, we're probably going to, if we can't kill the creatures, then we're just going to have to nuke the planet, basically. And he's just like, no!
There must be a third option.
That's what he said. I want that third alternative, and then has a bit of a mince out the room, which I was like, this is very camp,
But Kirk,
and I love that he does this really sort of tame smack because you know that the set would fall apart if he actually put any.
The table is the cheapest form of MDF. Yeah. Yes,
it's like this is where the rest of the acrylic went. It's like oh fuck.
This is an Argos set piece, so we don't want to hit it too hard because it will snap in half. But Kirk being Kirk inadvertently comes up with the third alternative all by himself.
Which is great.
And
this is why I'm really disappointed at Bones, because out of all the episodes I've watched so far, I just don't think he's very good. Because literally, it's like, didn't you try this? Like, what did you do? Like, I just like the idea.
Why did you not use UV?
Yeah, we've tried everything to try and kill these creatures. And he's just like, what is everything? Well, I pissed on one. And I shouted at it for a bit. And
it's not a gremlin, Bones.
Yeah, but you're just going, what the fuck did you try if you didn't try this? And I know it's just a plot, but the fact is it makes Bones look pretty bad that he sort of misses such a fucking obvious thing. And that Spock misses such a fucking obvious thing. Because as a logical person, surely he should be like, let's connect all of these events over the episode together, And that's what Kirk does, but... fair play to him.
Well, they test out the theory that the amount of light that they need is the equivalent of 1 million candles. And I got a flashback to the Rod Gilbert stand-up.
Per inch.
Yeah, per inch. And I got a flashback to the Rod Gilbert stand-up where he's like, the torch with the power of 1 million candles. And, well, yeah, they come to the decision, like, the craft that they encountered at the beginning of the episode where... what?
I'm just laughing about Bones again because I've got a quote here, which is Kirk points out that something in the sun must have been able to kill them, and that's why that guy flew into it. And Bones goes, "You can't move Denver closer to the sun," and you're like, I love that your mind went there.
That's why he's a doctor and not a scientist. So
he's just like, how could we possibly make things bright? And you're just like, wait, move a planet to the sun. Okay, right. I'm sorry. I think Bones lied on his CV. I'm calling it out now.
So they test out this theory on a creature on the gas cab.
The gas cab.
They subject. I'm
crying, man. I'm crying.
They subject the creature to an immense form of light. They study it. And they realise that it has actually killed the gas
They
scab.
don't study it at all. They literally flash some light on it, and then they go in, and they're like, oh, it's dead. And you're like, are you going to check anything?
That's studying in the 60s. That is studying.
They literally just look at it, and I'm like, it looks exactly like it did when it was on the wall. Nothing has changed with it. And they're like, oh, well.
It's shriveled a bit.
That was perfect.
The scab has dried up. It's, you're now able to pick it off if you want to do so.
I've worked with UX testers that are more diligent than them in this scene, and that's saying something. So it's...
Yeah. So they test the theory, and then they go, well, hang on, it works on the gas scabs, but we have got a 1 million population on the surface. We need to eradicate it with from them. How do we do it? We need to test it on a subject. Spock volunteers as Spock.
Especially when they've got a ginger kid lying around, and they're just like, "Hang on, why did they pick Spock?"
So Spock volunteers. I'm not raising to it. I'm not raising to it, guys. I'm not. I
love the idea that well, Spock volunteers, which is
You all think he's taking the piss, but secretly Synoiz is ginger. He just shaves it to hide it and dyes his beard. So
I actually did because I was feeling because I'm really ill today and I've been absolutely fucking awful all day. I've just fermented my beard to make it a bit like browner, so I actually look like a living person.
I've seen Synoiz with
the actual walking corpse that I am.
I have seen Synoiz with long hair, and I'm telling you, that is the most strawberry blonde shit I have ever seen in my entire life, and he can't hide that. So,
if only, man. Oh.
So Spock.
If only I had the other accoutrements of being ginger, though.
Well,
shame.
Charm. So the sorry, I'm tired and I'm a bitch.
Oh, you bitch.
You bitch. Someone's a bitch, and it's not the chat or Synoiz.
Stop being such a batch.
You fucking batch.
That's basically Spock in this scene. Spock is just... Well, it's McCoy afterwards, after what happens. He's like, oh, well,
So it's the Spock volunteers, and McCoy says, I've got these specialized shades for you so you can shield your eyes from the light. They get into Spock sits in the chamber, and McCoy
Well,
goes...
Spock points out that they can't give him the goggles because people on the planet they're trying. Because I thought this was a massive plot hole until I rewatched the episode and then saw it because I was playing on my phone or something. And then basically, like, I think it was, but it was the idea of, Spock basically goes, no, don't give me any goggles because the people on the planet that we're going to administer this cure to won't have the goggles. And so he does it, and obviously McCoy's just like, oh, but your optic nerves, like this amount of light, will really damage them. But Spock's like, nope, I need to save all these people at the... Well, to be fair, Spock was going to kill himself anyway. Like, Spock was literally just like...
He has a penchant for doing this.
Yeah, and nuke me on the planet. And it's just like, okay, so I guess if this works, it's probably sort of the better option out of death.
Also,
I'm getting... The Sullivan, what's the name? It's the Braverman kind of option, where you basically go, do you want to go... be disabled or death? There's your two options.
Being blind is a lifestyle choice. So I'm getting I'm getting flashbacks though to Rainier Wolfcastle. The goggles, they do nothing.
Yes, they do nothing.
But
I hope Jake's watching this.
Also, as well,
Simpsons quoted.
Also, as well, Charles Royal has just said using 1 million candles is an actual maritime measurement. So that's good.
I just love the impracticality of that, where you just go, oh, how do we demonstrate this? Does anyone have 1 million candles?
It's a lumen. That's how lumens. That's how the unit of measurement is for a lumen. It's a candle.
A lumen. Are they like naughty lumens?
My light bulbs are 1360 lumens, so it's the power of 1360 candles.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny you mention that because I went to IKEA and I basically got some 1 million candles per square inch bulbs installed. So,
I could literally just turn up the brightness on OBS. And just like, and now to blind Synoiz because it is a lifestyle choice. So, but yes.
So basically, Spock goes in. They shine the light on him and stuff, and obviously he goes like, oh, closes his eyes. But then basically they open the door again, and he says, I'm cured. I can't feel the thing anymore. Like it's totally gone, kind of thing. And he gets up and he sort of walks out the chamber door, and he's like, oh, I'm totally cured, and then bumps into a table, and has the second best line in the entire thing, which is, I am also quite blind. Which is like not like as in quite blind. It's whereas blind tends to be a Boolean usually, where you sort of.
But here is the plot twist, everybody.
Oh no, not yet.
Oh yeah, it is. It's
straight
away.
Later. It's later.
No, it's straight away. It is straight away. So he's like, I'm also quite blind. And then the next scene, Chapel walks in with the results of the gash scab.
Yeah.
And then McCoy realizes they didn't have to blind Spock because McCoy, medical malpractice of the year, exposed him to every form of light radiation.
And it was totally not needed.
And it was not needed because only one form that is invisible to the spectrum of most people was needed to kill the gash scabs.
And I love the idea because this whole scene, obviously we're talking about McCoy being training videos earlier, but this whole scene is literally a sort of, like you're saying, medical malpractice. This whole thing is just like, have you been injured as part of an accident or at home or at work?
Yeah.
You could be entitled to compensation.
If there was,
I just love the idea of it changing to this. I got blinded by being exposed to the light of 1 million candles per inch.
And now Suella Braverman won't return my calls. So
it's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah. So McCoy blames himself for blinding Spock. Stories. We see that the Enterprise is depositing 210 satellites around the orbit of Denver.
Yeah. And they haven't got the note either, so we have a lot of blind people. Imagine if that was the twist. They were like, and McCoy's like, oh yeah, I should have told them as well, actually. Well.
They use the satellites to emit this light spectrum, which we apparently cannot see, but makes everything glow red, which means that we can technically see it. It kills all the gash scabs on Denver. It frees the gash scabs on Denver. It frees the population. They get confirmation that the population are coming out of it and that these gash scabs are dying. I keep saying this so much, we're going to get demonetized. But it works. It absolutely works. They have killed the vomit pancakes that are on Denver. We get to the epilogue of the episode.
Sorry, just Christopher's just like, have you been injured while experimenting with gash scabs? This needs to be an advert. We need to edit this advert using footage from this episode.
Have you been injured whilst being penetrated by a gash scab? You may be entitled to substantial compensation. But yeah, the epilogue of the show, which is classic, the original series, classic 60s, 70s, and 80s TV, where it's just
we get a whole thing though. We get scenes where McCoy is feeling very guilty. We get a couple of little scenes where basically McCoy is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I've," because he was saying earlier that basically Spock is the best first officer in all of Starfleet, and then he's like, "Oh shit, now I've like blinded him," which is, terrifying, and he's really guilty. But then obviously, like you're saying, in the next scene, it kind of gets reversed because
Spock can see. Because
he
guys
just turns up on the bridge and he can see, and it's like,
because he conveniently forgot, much like the human appendix, that Vulcans have got an inner eyelid to protect the ocular nerves from harsh sun, because Vulcan has 2 or 3 harsh suns, because it's a desert planet. And he's like, I conveniently forgot it, much like the human appendix. So all is well on the Enterprise. The gash scabs are dead.
And once again, we're just going, so McCoy, your knowledge of Vulcan physiology, then, is that yet another class that you skipped? It's this whole thing is literally just going, are you really a doctor? Are you actually?
He's a bitter divorcee. That's what he is.
That's it. I like him as a character, but I'm just like, you know what I complain? I complain that Crusher is a bad doctor.
Yeah.
I think Bones might be worse.
Chris has just said plot eyelids. I like that.
Plot eyelids.
They do though make a callback to this in Star Trek Enterprise season 4 when they are crossing a desert on Vulcan, and Archer's got sunglasses on, and T'Pol goes, "Oh, I don't need them. I've got inner eyelids." And we're like, "All right, you fucking show off."
Yeah, that's it.
But yes, Vulcan have inner eyelids. But I love the fact that the first sight of his recovery, after his recovery, is McCoy.
Can I do this?
Can
I do this? Yeah, basically, Kirk's sort of going, "Oh wow!" So finding out that you could actually see, that must have made elicited an emotional response. But I'm sure you sort of held it down. And then Spock's just like, "No, I did have quite a strong response, because the first sight I saw was Dr. McCoy bending over me." and then McCoy just slaps back immediately. This banter is fucking amazing.
I love the banter.
Just slaps back immediately with like, "A pity your brief blindness didn't increase your appreciation for beauty, Mr. Spock."
Oh!
And he's just like, "You go, girl." It's like,
I love it. They love each other so fucking much.
But this is the thing. It's like the fact that they have such great banter. These characters, like the unit of the 3 of them, like, are really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a shame that we didn't get more of it in the episode. But I like that they have this little sort of tally bit at the end, which is great.
Honestly, it's one of the redeeming features of Star Trek V is the trio banter that we get. But yes, that was Operation Annihilate. A really solid original series episode, one of the 30 that are solid, to be fair, let's be honest. It's 60s, it's got questionable sedation of hysterical women, it's got cheap effects. However, you suspend your disbelief, you have fun, it is a solid story, lots happen.
Yeah, no, a lot happens.
In 52 minutes.
I was saying to you that it's the narrative is weird. It's like ADHD writer, basically, because they just, all this stuff happens and you get to the end and you're like, wait, that feels so far away when we had mobs with perspex dildos and stuff. And then you get to the end and it very much, how most Star Trek has like an A plot and then it has like a B plot and maybe a C plot kind of working through it. This one is just this stream of consciousness of things that happen, and then it just forgets the previous things. So by the end, oh yeah, Sam Kirk's dead. Oh, and we've got an orphan on board, but now we don't need to go into that again. That was weeks ago. It's like, oh yeah, we've got this dead woman here. No, we're not going to mourn. Like, Kirk doesn't seem that bothered by the fact that Sam is dead, if I'm perfectly honest about this. But again, it's a roller coaster of an episode, and then the Spock going blind at the end is weird. Like you don't tend to get sort of weird shocks like that in the third act of something.
I'm just the one thing that does peeve me off, and we have mentioned this, the fact that Sam's son is never ever mentioned ever again in Star Trek.
They literally just go teleport him into space,
But it's like
full on Terran Empire.
If you think about it, like, how synonymous is the Kirk name in the Star Trek universe, where as recently as season 3 of Picard, he is there and mentioned and everything like that, and he's got this legacy. However, no one goes, the Kirks actually still exist. And this goes back to Jonathan Frakes made a pitch to CBS Paramount around 2015, 2016. This is when they were looking at bringing back Star Trek to TV, so they were accepting pitches. And one of them, and again, they fucking stole this, but one of them was Jonathan Frakes wanted to do Star Trek in the 31st century. Ring any bells, anybody? Where it was, 800, 900 years after the events of the Next Generation. The Federation is a shadow of its former self. Ring any bells, anybody? And that in order to rebuild the Federation to how it once was, there wasn't any catastrophic events or anything like that. It was just the Federation had fell out of favor, like every empire, like every civilization. You have the rise and you have the fall. And it was basically...
Was it perchance because some alien screamed somewhere and destroyed all of the
So anyway,
yeah, that's it. It's your favorite season, Goodwill. It's your favorite show.
I'm awaiting the audio message from you for that 52-minute audio message, and I'm going to have to go somewhere quietly.
I haven't got back to it, man. Like I have had time. I genuinely have had time this week to watch stuff, and I haven't been able to bring myself to get back to Discovery. But I will watch it.
But anyway. So this pitch, okay. This is what Frakes did. It was called Star Trek Federation. Now, Frakes had this for 20 years. So when Paramount started, he'd already been to Paramount in the mid-2000s and they weren't interested. So when they started again to look at bringing Trek back to a TV series, he went back to Star Trek Federation. And he said it's going to be a newly commissioned enterprise that's going to help spearhead and rebuild the Federation to what it used to be, because there was an overarching threat, blah, 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 blah. And they were going to use a Kirk, and it was a descendant of not Kirk himself, because Kirk never had children.
Yeah.
He did. Well, he
that
did.
We know of.
He did. No, he did.
But he's worse than bloody Boris Johnson.
But we had David, but we all know what happened to David. But it was a
descendant.
It was a descendant of the Kirk family, who would be in command of the Starship Enterprise again. And
They'd been uber ginger by then.
It would be really cool, though, because after 50 years, it would have been really cool for them to go, yes, this Kirk didn't have the lineage. However, the spirit of James carried on through Sam's son, and then their descendants and their descendants and their descendants. And that would have been absolutely fantastic to identify that. Becca's just said, imagine Paramount stealing stuff. They stole a lot for Discovery. That's all I'm saying. A lot of it was stolen from a lot of stuff, or influenced, as they like to say. But that is my only...
Is that why it feels like a patchwork quilt at times?
Don't make me scream and destroy stuff. So, but that was our review. But hold on a minute, Synoiz.
Oh,
we are getting an incoming transmission.
Are we doing it?
Hold on.
Incoming transmission.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes, come
Oh
on.
no.
Everyone in the chat, fingers crossed. Code
It
of
is
honor.
here again.
Code of honor, everyone.
It is the Dabo Wheel of episodes, Treks and Trekkers. If you are new to our podcast, this is the Dabo Wheel of episodes where the lovely science officer Synoiz has programmed every Star Trek episode and movie, bar Discovery, into the Dabo Wheel.
My hand slipped.
It will randomly spin, and whatever it lands on, we will review next week on Trekking Up North.
Ooh. Okay, so fingers crossed. Code of honor or was it Sub Rosa?
What do you want it to be? Apart from those two train wrecks, what would you want to see? What series or episode would you want to see?
This is the really annoying thing. It's literally the episode, like I've mentioned it a couple of times, but the episode just before this in the original series, I would love to talk about that, the City on the Edge of Forever. It's a very, very good episode. I really enjoyed it. And for a time travel one, that's kind of rare. It has a lot of bullshit in it, but I love the kind of message it has. But I'm really hoping for some DS9. Honestly, hoping for some DS9, but
I want to see either.
Code of Honor is a good second choice.
I want to see either something from Deep Space Nine or something from Star Trek Enterprise, just because I want to sing "Faith of the Heart" to everyone. Because I want you.
Got faith. Which one though? What if it's season 4 and we get the weird
fucking
sort of mariachi
no
version?
Tambourines allowed.
Do we have to have tambourines if it's season 3 or 4?
No.
Okay.
No. So DS9 or Enterprise. Charles says Threshold. Yes, I do want to see Threshold. I do want to see Threshold. Becca says DS9. Lee Davis says Season 2, I'm guessing. It's got to be a Voyager episode, Season 2 of Voyager. Ooh, maybe a Seska-centric. Right. Are you ready, Science Officer Synoiz?
Okay, cool. Is the audience ready? Are we all ready to yell
Are we
Dabo
all
with
ready?
your homes? Okay,
3, 2, 1. Load. It's spinning. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no. 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 Dabo!
Wow.
Star Trek The Next Generation.
Hugh,
Borg. It is Hugh.
Wow, we get the full Hugh episode.
It is a
week.
Hugh episode. Oh, we're going back to TNG. Lovely. Yeah. I will get the synopsis up for our lovely viewers.
The problem is I actually double checked this. I effectively tore open the circuits of the Dabo Wheel a couple of weeks ago. That would suggest I was a top. But went through it to try and go, why is it favoring the Next Generation? Like it is, all of them have the same amount of episodes pretty much, but we still haven't had any DS9 or Enterprise. And I'm just like going, well, how is this happening? But yeah, it is totally random. So it's just very weird luck.
Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 5, Episode 23, Borg. An encounter with an injured adolescent Borg affords Picard the opportunity to remove the Borg threat forever. Guys.
Now, this is another episode. I love that all of the episodes we've had of Next Gen are the ones with huge consequences for the whole Star Trek sort of like universe. And you just like, this is a massive one in terms of lore. And it's just weird. Like, why haven't we got one where it's just like, even Captain's Holiday has weird little ties to, the wider universe, It's very strange.
Computer, transfer all communications back to LCARS 1. Oh. This
you need to have Marshall's voice doing it.
I will have Marshall's voice on anything. I need it on satellite navigation. I need it on my dolls. I need everything. Guys, The Next Generation is on Netflix in the UK. If you are in the US, it is obviously on Paramount Plus. We encourage you.
And lots of other places on the internet.
Don't you know? Or DVDs or Blu-rays or VHS tapes or Betamaxes. Guys,
you can watch it on like one of those weird Spock view screen things. That's what he's watching. He's literally watching Next Gen on that thing when he looks into it.
You can watch it on Edison wax cylinder if you want to. Guys, we encourage you, because we really enjoyed watching you experience the original series this week, and in the Discord you were all discussing it, and it was absolutely wonderful to see so many people who don't necessarily watch Star Trek discover something new and what they liked and what they didn't like, and highlighted very relevant issues, about this was a 60s episode, so it had 60s etiquette, mannerisms, cultural staples. We encourage you to do the same next week with Borg, which was season 5 of The Next Generation. So that was 1992, 91, 92? No, 92, 93.
Yeah, I don't know how time works.
So I very much would like, because this also ties into Star Trek Picard. This one, this is a plot point for Star Trek Picard as well.
It ties into everything. It's
it
like
does.
There isn't a series of Trek. Well, obviously not Enterprise, but that doesn't reference this in some way. I'm pretty sure even Voyager just goes, "Hey, remember Hugh and that whole thing?" And obviously in Lower Decks, we literally had the conspiracy episode that we just did a couple of weeks ago, where the conspiracy theorist is like, sort of, Hugh wasn't real.
Yeah, Hugh wasn't real. Wolf 359 was an inside job.
Yeah.
And, the what was the other? Captain Picard's an AI.
But this is the cool thing, Adam, where you don't need to watch all of TNG. You don't need to be a massive fan like us. Just go and find this one episode and watch it completely out of context, and then come back to us next week. Speak to us in the Discord, with Daddy Discord, and basically tell us what you think of it, because this is the fun thing. Like Trek, you can just dive into. It's not like, oh, you need to know it. Most Next Gen doesn't need a massive sort of, in last week's episode we had this, you can just kind of slot
delicious
into it.
Exposition done so sublimely well. If you jump in on Borg and you've never seen season 2, 3, 4, whatever of Next Generation, and it goes, why does Picard hate that? Oh, okay, that's why. And then it just continues with the plot, which is so brilliantly done that most new Trek, like Discovery, where it's just like, oh, you haven't seen the last 40 episodes, well, you will know absolutely nothing about this, but hey, we don't give any backstory to our characters anyway. So
that's why I was making a joke about the fact that we learned about fucking Helen, and she's never going to appear again, probably Helen. But we had Helen the Redcoat, the yeoman. And she's never going to be seen again, but she had a name, and I still can't. Who is the person with dreadlocks on the bridge of Discovery?
Yes.
Who is she?
Yes. So
I'm like, it's been like 4 seasons. Who are you?
She does get a bit of backstory in season 4. To be fair, she does get a little bit of backstory.
Finally.
But however, forgettable. So, guys, this has been Trekking Up North. This has been our review of Operation Annihilate. It has been wonderful to do this after the week I have had. I love each and every one of you. Synoiz, what have you got going on in the following week?
I'm currently being very ill, which is wonderful for me.
How dare
you? Yeah, that's it. I've actually got not much on, which is pretty good. Like I said, check out the Girl podcast, GURL, on Spotify.
Girl.
Search for Girl Global. Oh, girl. Because that was very fun. I'm just put a new episode out, and there's plenty of other episodes to watch. What have I got going on? There's some interviews coming out on Instagram and things, but I'm not doing any performances. Although, because basically I told myself I need a break, so I was not accepting any more drag work until the new year, where we've got DragCon in London. But then I got approached by Drag Castle to do their panto again, and it was very fun because you can be very stupid in panto. Like, the last pantomime performance I did was one of the silliest things I've ever done, where I was a fairy godmother, but then we had a whole Jeffrey Bezos number where someone came on in a suit with a huge oversized Jeffrey Bezos song head on, just grinding against me. And then I think we kill him. But it was very surreal. But yeah, the whole thing was very silly. So I will be doing that again. I believe it is December 17th at Prohibition Bar in Newcastle. So there's going to be limited tickets. But when we fleshed out more and we actually have an event for it, I'll bring it up again. But yeah, aside from that, I'm 17th. I think it's a Sunday.
The day before my birthday.
Well, if you want to make your birthday seem better by going to something terrible beforehand. Well,
It will make it
to be fair, we'll
adequate.
probably be out for your birthday on the Saturday or something.
Will
But
we?
yeah,
Oh
maybe,
no.
I don't know. That's it. Foreshadowing.
Oh no. But
The other thing is basically I will be on the actual main Nerdy Up North podcast next Sunday, where we will be reviewing The Crow, the movie with
caca,
Brandon Lee in it. Caca! Bang! Fuck! I'm
caca.
dead.
You are not twitching tonight though because you are very ill.
I'm not. I really want to, guys, but I'm meant to be doing stuff early tomorrow morning, and I'm still in that kind of. If I just get enough sleep, I won't be ill tomorrow, and I'm just like. It won't work, I know, but I'm gonna try. So yeah, no twitching tonight. What I'll do is I might try and stream midday on Sunday, where we'll get some System Shock Sundays in.
Yeah.
See if we can get a bit further in that. But yeah, sorry guys, but next week.
I, for obvious reasons, will not be twitching on Tuesday. Two reasons, yes. The second one being the laptop.
You finished the game,
Yeah.
but also a more important one.
The laptop froze earlier on, and I'm like, are you about to die? And so I'm sort of like, I'm trying to take it easy with this until I can invest in a swanky new desktop PC, which I am looking at purchasing soon. So that's all very fun. I can then do 12-hour streams of Euro Truck Simulator with a trailer full of Paul's face, just to annoy him.
Wow. Peach, yay, Peaches is saying that she's on the Crow one with me. So that'll be fun. It'll be good
Raw
working with her.
ginger action.
Raw ginger action. Oh, I might dye my hair for it. No.
Guys, if you are not subscribed to the Nerdy Up North YouTube channel, what are you doing? Hit that like button, subscribe, caress the bell. We do many
Tickle its
things.
little bell bits.
We do many shows with many awesome people, and we talk about many things. So there will be something for everybody on the Nerdy Up North channel. We are also on all the social medias that you can think of. All the links are down below. You can catch me at Goodwill None on Twitter. I'm also on Blue Sky as well now. I am on the Blue Sky. I'm on Threads. I'm on Instagram. Synoiz is on Twitch. He's on.
I got an invite. A guy messaged me on Twitter being like, "Hey, do you want my invite to Blue Sky?" And I was like, "I haven't even posted on fucking Threads yet. What are you expecting me to do? I'm terrible with all of that shit."
That's why I do it for you.
But this is the thing. I keep going, "Oh, I should post in the Discord more, and I should do this and stuff." And I'm just like, no,
It's
No,
wonderful, guys, because I promote Synoiz and I promote Trekkin Up North, and it's wonderful seeing Synoiz's dead and dormant Twitter account get more followers than you do by putting no effort in whatsoever, where it goes from like, oh, he had 600, oh, he's got 800, oh, he's got 1,000, oh, he's got 1,100.
Now I can say this because it's the end of the episode, but like, this is the easiest job I've ever had, because literally I just turn up and talk shit. And Goodwill, you are the master of this. You are the one who puts all of the work in, and you are very conscious of me, and you're asking how I feel about everything. And I'm very much kind of like going, you do all the work, so whatever you think. Which I think is a good working relationship, I think. But you put in all the work for this. Whereas with the girl podcast, I put in so much work into that, and it is exhausting being on the other end of the spectrum, which is why I don't do it for this.
It's mutually beneficial.
I had to edit the episode that just came out yesterday, okay? And wow, that took some editing magic, because the guests just kept moving off the question. You'd ask a question and then they talk about something else. And so I literally just had to have all the different segments on different layers, editing them so that they seemed like a coherent answer to a question. Whereas actually they were like segments from 20 minutes apart.
Tangents, if you will.
Yeah, that's it. And he was just going like, wow. And I was just like, this is so much work. It took me like 15 hours. And I think the end product is only about an hour and 5 minutes. And you're just going like, oh my God, it was so much work. But it's the passion there. So it's wonderful having this where I can just turn up, just talk about something I'm very, very passionate about.
I think Jake put it well in one of our team chats where he said, a well-rested Goodwill with plenty of time is a danger to us all. And I'm like, yes. If I didn't have another full-time job, you would all be screwed. Because I have got the skills, the power, I just don't have the time. Unlimited power. But yes, you can come and find me on Twitter. If anyone would like a sexy Trekking Up North t-shirt, send me a message. Send Paul, the cult leader, a message.
Send me a message and I will ignore it. I will be like, what? T-shirts? What the fuck's that?
But guys,
I will literally just pass it on to you, Goodwill, actually.
Yeah, we send you all the love in the world, everybody. Until we speak again next week, stay safe, take care of each other, live long and prosper. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining, Charles. I mean, Miles?
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 Miles? Mipsy.